on, people? G'day, Pete Moriarty here. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to another live stream on our channel. We do these as often as possible. In fact, we have scheduled these to happen every Thursday, well, every second Thursday actually, at 2 p.m. Sydney time. So we're calling it T2. We like to think of little names for things like that. So generally we're calling it T2, but it's Thursday, every second Thursday at 2 p.m. And in this live, I'm going to be covering as many of your questions as I can. Sometimes we do what's latest and what's new in Google Workspace. Sometimes we cover, the latest events that Google have released new products at. We did have some updates come out at Google Next the other week. Not too excited about that. Maybe I'll do a live react to some of those for you. But in this session, this is our open community Q&A, which means that we're going to cover as many of your questions as I can until I run out of energy, which is usually around 90 minutes. So I'm going to cover as many as possible. And we get a lot of questions in the comments on our channel. We've got a pretty large channel now, and as much as possible, I try and get to all of those comments where I can. But some of them, I can't quite answer them in a comment. And so that's why we have this stream. I try and answer as many as possible. I love you sending me questions because, there's some tricky things that even our sales team can't really answer. And I like to, as much as possible, when I answer a question for one person, share that answer with the world. It's just a much more leveraged way of doing business, and it's much better for you, a business owner who's curious in learning about Google Workspace and learning about business technology. So that's why we're here. So if you're interested in asking a question, that's pretty easy to do. You just head along to a democratic process, meaning that everyone who asks a question has the opportunity to also upvote and downvote on other people's questions. So if someone else has put something in there that you're interested in answering or having answered yourself, if you're curious to know the answer to a particular question, you can give it an upvote. It's going to move it up the list, and I'm going to cover the most popular questions first. Okay, if you're not already connected to us and subscribed to the newsletter and all that kind of thing, head along to our website, itgenius.com. Drop us a like, drop us a follow, download an ebook, make sure you're on the email newsletter. If you want to follow me on Instagram, just head along to peter.tv. That's my personal website. You get the links to all my social media profiles there. And if you want to connect and say hi, if you've been enjoying the channel and you want to give me a compliment, I love compliments, please send them on, and you can connect with me there if you want to chit chat. Okay, great. So first of all, let's see who's on the live here. We've got Rahil. Hey, thanks for joining us, Rahil. I'm not able to log into Google Admin using my business account. Okay, well, that's a great question. If you're currently stuck and you need help with something urgently or immediately, or I don't know, maybe something's not working in your Google world, you can always get help from our team. So if behind me there, let me just remove my image. All right, you can hit the chat button. Stuck right now, then just be sure to reach out and let us know. Okay, we'll be there to help you out. But Rahil, thanks for joining. If you're on the live stream right now, please make sure you say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. We have customers all over the world. We have, I think now 35,000 subscribers roughly on our channel, which is pretty cool. But you, our community, are all over the place, which is awesome. We've got customers in 15 countries now, which is just phenomenal. For a business that I started in my bedroom, I never thought it would actually become this, global empire thing that it is, which is pretty crazy. But we're just here to help small business owners get ahead and do more with their tech. So if we can help you, thank you for being a part of the community. And of course, make sure you share it with someone else as well. All right, I'll stop blabbing. Let's get into the questions. I know what you came for. Let's jump into our questions. And I'm going to go ahead and that sounds like a pretty straightforward process of a domain potentially having been expired and now available and released to the market for registration again. If you have a domain name and you go and check it, on GoDaddy and it says this domain name is available, that's probably a red flag. That's probably not a good thing. If that's the case, you want to re-register that domain name as quickly as possible, and then you want to obviously point it back to your domain registrar, whether that's Cloudflare, whether that's Google Domains, whoever is hosting your DNS right now. You want to point that domain name back there, and then your emails, if you've configured things correctly, will start working. Now, my recommendation is actually, considering Google domain names have now basically shut down, if you've got a .com domain, the easiest way to register that is to do it through Cloudflare. Now, Cloudflare are a great partner of ours. We have thousands of customers, and many of those have got their domain name registered through Cloudflare, through our partner portal. And what Cloudflare does is it helps to speed up your website by hosting some of your web assets like pictures and even web pages on their servers, and their data centers basically are all over the world. Now, this is a free service. It's called a content delivery network, and there's a number of them out there. But Cloudflare's got a couple of special things that make it really great. One is it's basically designed to, as much as possible, democratize the internet in the way that it helps to speed things up and it helps to protect your website for free. And I really love that. I love the ethos with how Cloudflare operate. Of course, there's paid plans if you want more features, and they're hoping that you upgrade to a paid plan at some point in the future. But the other cool thing that Cloudflare does is they now let you register your domain name. If it's one of their certain allowed domain names, whether it be a .com, and some other country-level domain names are accepted as well. Well, they don't not only let you register the domain name, they let you actually register it for the cost price. So the cost price that it costs them to register it, they will allow you to register it through them. And I think, I don't know, maybe they put an admin markup of 20 cents or something like that. But it is a very, very affordable way of getting your domain names registered. So if you have a domain name right now and it's registered with Google Domains, unfortunately, because Google Domains have shut down, they sold out to somebody to handle the domain side of their business. It now means that you can have that running inside of Cloudflare as probably your next best option. So if right now you've got a domain name inside Google Domains, whether it's registered or not, my recommendation would be to register it for another year. You may not be able to do that through Google. You may need to go to GoDaddy, Squarespace, or someone else to re-register your domain name for another year. But once it has been renewed, then you can transfer your DNS to Cloudflare. And after you've transferred your DNS to Cloudflare, you have the option to transfer your domain registration to Cloudflare as well. Now, they're two different things, remember. DNS is your domain name settings. Your registration is like a yearly business registration. That's your registration for your domain name. It needs to happen every single year, but Cloudflare can now help you with that. So if you're interested in that, you can go sign up for a free account with Cloudflare. If you're interested in becoming a concierge customer with IT Genius, we will do this for you on your behalf. So we do this for you for free. We actually even give you a free domain name registration just for being a customer of ours, just to say a thank you for hosting your emails and your business domain with us. So if you're interested in that, you can click on the link down below and get in touch with our team. Okay, I think I've completely covered that question. I will add, let me add a caveat to this. Now, from time to time, domain providers like GoDaddy and other providers will allow you to reserve a domain. It's called a back order sometimes. And what that allows you to do is pay a small fee, and it's kind of like a sniping service. If that domain name was to become available, you will be one of the first in line to be able to register that domain name. So a back order is a couple of bucks a year, and it basically lets you sit there and hold on to the next right of being able to renew that domain. Now, unfortunately, not many people are silly enough to let the domain name expire. It happens a lot to small business owners because we're so busy. We don't always have sophisticated payment management systems for vendors and suppliers, and sometimes you lose a credit card or it expires. You don't update your web host, and you forget to renew the domain. You miss the email, and then your domain becomes available. For most people, you just have to go and re-register it again, and then you're back in business. But if you really want to sit on a domain name and pay money to a domain name provider to be the next in line, go ahead, be my guest. I think it's pretty useless, and I've only really used it in the past where I've owned a domain name, I've forgotten to renew it, somebody else has renewed it on my behalf with no intention to use it, but just basically an intention to sit on it, and I want to be next in line to get it back if I need to get that domain back. Thankfully, it's only happened once or twice in my life, and we're now pretty diligent on paying our domain names. So if you want all that hassle to go away, IT Genius can just manage your domain names for you. We know it's something that small business owners miss from time to time. So get in touch with our team if you'd like us to take on your domain name management, because it makes things a lot easier than you having to worry about it yourself. Okay, great question though. Love that one. All right, I'm going to mark that as complete. Okay. Or did I? What happened there? Maybe I just moved it. Did I just move it to the top? I'm not sure. Okay. Oh, I think there's a double. There's a double up. Okay. Thanks for letting me know. Oh, it appears I'm losing my audio when I switch screen. Oh, okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for letting me know that. It looks like I'm losing audio when I was switching to my second screen, but I've resolved that now. It was muted for some strange reason. Okay. All right. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Okay, I've got audio everywhere. Thanks for the heads up. Okay. I hope I am able to recover that audio later for the recording. We'll see how we go. All right. Great. Okay, so Rahila said, I've got a domain name from Hedinger. I created a business email with it using Cloudflare, but the real problem is I'm not able to receive any emails to that email. Okay, so Rahil, I think what your problem probably is there is, I think what the issue probably is there is that your domain name settings are not correct. And so let me drop in, we've got a domain name settings email, video on fixing your DNS. Go through this guide and let me know how you go once you've gone through this guide. I'll share that with you here. And let me drop it into the chat for you. Let's join the chat. There's my chat. There we go, we're live. Okay, how do I join the chat? There it is. Okay, wonderful. All right, so there's the video. Now, if you're stuck and that doesn't work, you can always head to our website. Excuse me. Head to our website, grab a quick fix. Fix My DNS Records is our most popular quick fix. So if you want to get some help fixing your DNS records, our team will fix those instantly for you. They're there, ready and waiting to go. Okay, I'm going to triple check my audio here because you guys have said it's very muffled. I'm going to see if I can just test it myself, just because I want to make sure it's actually recorded correctly. Let's see how it sounds now. Okay, I'm hearing myself okay. If there are still audio issues, please let me know. I've moved the microphone right in front of my mouth, so fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that audio should be better now. From time to time, we have good old tech issues, don't we? All right, let's see if we can move things along here. While I'm playing with things, I'm going to adjust the light, and then I'll be back in 1 sec. Bear with me just one moment, friends. Okay, we are ready to rock and roll. All right. Okay, so, all right. So if you've seen, this is another interesting challenge. So if you're not able to log in as Google admin, okay, you need to do a DNS. You need to do a DNS recovery. I'm not sure if we've got that on the channel. Let me check. But you need to do a DNS account recovery. Let's see. I can't remember what video I covered this in, but I know I did answer this at one point. If you search the channel for recovery, I would probably try watching this one, the account recovery. I'm not sure if I covered the full process. Here we go. Here's another one. Retrieve a locked out Google Workspace account, forgotten administrator password. I'd recommend you watch those videos. It's a bit of a complicated process, I'll be honest. It's a bit of a technical, complicated process, but effectively what you're trying to do is get back into an admin account using DNS, and you need to authenticate your way into the account. Now, sometimes you can get caught in a situation where your emails aren't working because your DNS or your domain name has expired, and your let's say you're trying to log in and recover the account, but you can't access your DNS because it's trying to send an email to an account that's not working. Then you are what we would say in Australia, up shit creek, because you can't get your emails working, but you can't log in to fix your emails working because you don't have your email. So if you're in that situation, just like chat to our team, they should be able to help you work your way through that, because that gets really messy. But what you need to do is basically an account recovery. It's got a DNS-based account recovery, and that's logging back into your account by authenticating with your DNS. So if you've got your domain name on Cloudflare, then if you're trying to log into the administrator account and you need to reset the administrator account password, it'll say, hey, just authenticate that you actually are the business owner. Put this code on the business domain name, and then when you put that code on the business domain name using the DNS settings, then it lets you back into the account. Good luck with that. If you get stuck, chat to our team. They do account lockouts. They do DNS fix. All of this can be covered under a quick fix. If you've got the budget to go and do that, that would be my recommendation. Because as you can see, there's a lot of moving parts here. And what our team is good at doing is just looking at the situation and fixing it, knowing that there's sometimes multiple avenues that we need to go down to get that fixed. Sometimes things are just better left to the experts, and that's our recommendation here. My advice, as much as possible, is to help you make good business decisions. Sometimes a good business decision is to outsource and let someone else fix it. But I'm going to try as best I can to help support you to work it out as much as you can. Okay, great. Let me know if you're still stuck there, and I'll give you whatever recommendations I can. Clarissa, if you're still listening, please let me know how my audio is going. I'd love to know if it's improved. I think this is the best that I can get it at the moment. Okay, let's move on to our next question. If I have more than one domain, I would like, let's try that again. If I have more than one domain and I would like to send emails from, depending on the subject of the email, will I need more than one Workspace account? Well, this is a great question. I really like this question, and I think I'm going to draw out the options that we have available to answer this question. So I'm going to open up my Jamboard here. Unfortunately, Jamboard is going away, but I'm still using it for now. I haven't migrated to any of the alternative solutions. Let me know what you think are the best options. I've had to play with a couple of them, but can't say I've been wildly impressed just yet. Okie dokie. So we have Google Workspace accounts. Just try and open up. Of course, my Apple Pencil has died. I have to draw with my fingers this time. Okay. So here we have Google Workspace accounts. And let's call that Workspace account 1 and Workspace account 2. Now, within each of those accounts, we have our mailboxes. Now, I ordinarily wouldn't recommend that you have 2 Workspace accounts because even though you may have 2 businesses or 2 business units, and maybe this is workspace1.com and workspace.com.au because we're in Australia here, right? Even if you have 2 business units, it usually doesn't make sense to split them into 2 Google accounts. The only time it really makes sense to split things into 2 Google accounts is if you have different business partners in a separate business, if you're a serial entrepreneur and you've got multiple completely discrete businesses, one's an event management company, the other one is a pet food supplier, that's when you would potentially have 2 completely separate Google Workspace accounts. But for most people, they're going to be doing everything just in one account. Okay, so when you are paying the bill with Google, you pay per mailbox. And I like to call this per bucket of email. Each bucket of email that you have, which is one Gmail account that email goes to, that's what you pay for when you're paying for your Google accounts. Okay, great. So from here, okay, we've got our buckets of email. Well, let's go back to this person's question. So this person is asking if I've got more than one domain and I'd like to send emails to different emails from different accounts depending on the subject of the email, will I need to use more than one Workspace account? Well, technically, if you wanted to, you could use 2 completely different businesses, right? We have business 1 here over on the left, and we have business 2 over on the left. Now, that would require you using 2 different browser tabs when you're sending your emails because they're completely separate accounts and they can't be in the one mailbox unless you're forwarding emails back and forward. You could use forwarding if you wanted to, but it can get a little bit messy when you're doing that across multiple businesses. But if you wanted to have them both domains under one Workspace account, and what that would look like is, let's say, all right, it's 2 domains for the one business. So I'm going to have itgenius.com, maybe itgenius.asia, and itgenius.us, all in one place. Well, if they're all under the one Workspace account, I can add those domains, and they're called domain aliases or add-on domains, to each one of my mailboxes. So I might want to have Peter at mybusiness.com and also Peter at mybusiness.us. And I can have that under a single mailbox or a single bucket of email. And what that means is I only pay for that mailbox once. So 1 bucket of email, 1 payment. Pretty straightforward. But when I go to send an email, I can choose which email address I'm sending from. Now, what does that look like inside my Gmail? Well, let's go into my inbox here and we'll have a look at what that looks like because I actually have multiple sending addresses set up for my Gmail account. So I'm going to open up a fresh email here, hit the compose button, and when I send my email, I've got a from dropdown. So when I send my email, I can choose between multiple mailboxes that I can send from, and each of these will send from a different email address. I can choose to use these for different purposes. I can even choose to have different signatures for each one of those emails as well. So Really useful feature. But at the end of the day, this is what it looks like from a cost perspective. I'm using one bucket with multiple email addresses attached to that bucket of email. If I wanted to have a second bucket, I'd have to pay just for that second email. So let me highlight what that one looks like. I could use a second bucket here for my second email address. If I wanted to, I'd have to pay for another license. Or I may even have a second Workspace account completely separate to my first Workspace account. And if I chose to, I could forward emails from there into my mailbox. I can still send and receive from this primary bucket of email using an email address from my secondary Google account. But I have to pay twice because I have to pay for 2 buckets of email. All right. Hopefully that was useful. That's a good question. I love these. There's every variation of multiple account questions I've got on this channel. Hopefully that was useful. If you need some help making sense of, let me try that again. If you need some help making sense of managing multiple accounts, managing multiple domains, how to structure them for your users and your businesses, click on the link down below, schedule a free call with our team, and they'll be happy to walk you through a migration plan. And if you choose for us to help you out going ahead, that's great. If not, you want to have a go yourself, that's also totally fine. All right, cool. Great questions here. Thanks for coming through live, guys. If you'd like to ask a question live, remember you can also drop it straight into ask.itgenius.com. I'll give you the direct link as well. And just to make sure they don't disappear in the chat, drop them in there, and I'll be answering the most recent questions whenever I can. Okay. Right. Clarissa's saying, it sounds like I'm far from the microphone. Yeah, that's very odd. Okay, let me try. Give me just one moment. I'm going to try unplug, replug on the microphone. Good old-fashioned turn it on and turn it off again. Let's see if that happens to work. I'm going to even bring the volume up. Bear with me 1 second. One, two, 1, 2. All right. I'm going to try here a second microphone source. Let me know if that's any better, and I'm going to do a little test here again. Let me know if that's any better, and I'm going to do a little test here again. Yeah, okay, that's sounding better to me. Don't think my microphone likes being plugged in through a hub. Okay, wonderful. All right, well, we're on a computer microphone now, so cross our fingers and hope this one works. Okay, I feel for my edit team. All right, I'm just going to check my different scenes. Okay, cool. Audio's good. All right. You know what? Funnily enough, I spent $5,000 on a MacBook Pro to broadcast live with, and it's run out of USB ports. I've got a teleprompter. I've got a pedal to change my scenes. I had a microphone. I no longer have a port for the microphone anymore, and that plus the camera plugged in, and I'm out. I've only got 3 USB ports on a MacBook Pro. It's a bit crazy. Anyway, okay, cool. So. So Rahil, okay, cool. Still got some challenges with this one. Can you create a new business account from scratch? Yes, you can. But if you want to create a new business account from scratch, it's also hard because you need to you need to purge the old account. You need to wait for the old account to expire, and that can take some time to happen. So that's probably a slower process for you. So I mean, look, I'm going to try and guide you as far as I can on this process. I've not personally done this in a while, so just bear with me on that. But I'm gonna see how much I can get done here myself, and let's try for what are we going to call it? DNS account recovery workspace. Try and find the help guide that you're looking for. There we go. Our ads are showing. Excellent. Okay, recovering administrator access to your account. So this is the one that you're looking for. Okay, so this is a good indication actually, and that is first up, if you have a alternative email address that you can use, you probably set up an alternative email address. You should be able to use that. So this is the link you want. Sign in recovery. I'm going to paste that link in there for you. Let me find where's my restream. There it is. All right, and what you're going to do is when you go to, I've got to be careful here that this doesn't kick me out. There we go. So this is giving me options for recovering access to that account. Now you notice here the first two options are to get a verification code at my alternative email address. So that may work for you, or you could try. Obviously, if you don't know the password, that's probably not going to be very helpful. But when you click try another way to sign in, usually it will, and I might have to do again, try another way to sign in. Ah, interesting. Okay, cool. It's making me wait 72 hours. Odd. Haven't seen. Let me try. I'm going to try one of my alternative accounts. Oh, see, it's asking me for a sign-in key. Try another way. Get help. What I'm looking for is for it to prompt me to use my domain name to sign in. Yeah, see, it knows all the backup ways to get back into my account. Okay, again, this is asking, I think I've flagged some anti-hacking protocols here because it's asked me to wait. What I recommend is if you're still stuck and unable to get into your account, contact our team because the support team know this much better than I do. And then they'll help you to find the guide on where to get access to your account. Cool. Okay, so let's move on to our next question. I've got a live question. So I want to answer that one from Connor. Welcome to the live, Connor. I'd love to know where you are watching from. Okie dokie. So is there a way to automate the process of getting people signed up for accounts through a form that would be automatically put into Google Workspace upon completion? Oh, excellent question. So I can't say I know a firm answer to this. Well, I certainly know there is a, depending on your level of technical ability, there is a command line. There is a command line tool called GAM, and that command line tool basically lets you access the Google Workspace administrator portal on a command line level from a command line interface. So you could very easily create a script, or if you wanted our team to help do this, our team can create a script like that for you to have your portal user creation happening automatically. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that. I mean, it doesn't really save that much time, and this might be a little bit of overkill to create this just for creating new users, but I don't know, maybe you're onboarding people really frequently. That might make sense to do that. The other option is it might be possible to do it through Zapier. I'm curious. Something like Zapier, I'm curious if it has a option to connect to the Google Workspace admin panel, because there is an API for the admin panel, and Zapier connects to most things. Seems to be thinking about the login. I'm not sure why. Here we go. Okay, let's try our login. I'm going to go and check that out because I'm curious to see if maybe we can connect Zapier to the admin panel. I haven't actually tried that one before, so let's give it a go. Now, if you don't know Zapier, Zapier lets you connect lots of different cloud apps together. And basically it helps you, okay, create user from Google for, create user in Google Workspace from Google Form entry. And I might say Google Workspace admin. Let's see if that works. What Zapier lets you do, oh, lovely, all right. That's a bug. What Zapier lets you do is connect different cloud apps together. So let's say, for example, you have a web form on your website, and every time someone fills in that form on WordPress, you want that to have a new entry in a spreadsheet. Or let's say maybe you have a CRM system, and every time a deal is set to 1, you want to trigger a task in Asana or Monday to do a client onboarding list. Zapier is the brain that sits in the middle of all those little automations of different apps talking to each other. And if you want to go and build it out yourself, it's relatively straightforward to build it out yourself. But like most of these tech things, not always the best use of your time. It may be better to have someone to build it for you. That's where IT Genius comes in. And so we have a team of engineers who will build Zaps for you to and from any app that you want, as long as it's in the Zap directory, and even some that are not. We'll build those automations and connections for you if you want it done. So it looks like Google Workspace Admin is actually connected to Zapier, which is wonderful. So here we go. In this example, you can create a form in Google Forms, and then you can use the thank you of that form or the data entered into that form to create a new user inside Google Workspace. And look at that. You can even assign them to a group, assign a role to a user, assign a license if you've got particular licenses that you need to have assigned. So plenty of options there. There you go. Very, very helpful there. Great. All right, cool. Thanks for the question, Connor. That's a good one. Okay. Rahil says, every time I sign in, it says it couldn't find that email account. Well, maybe it's been purged. Maybe it's been left long enough that that account is no longer active. I would recommend you try and sign up again. See if signing up again works. So if you go to Google Workspace, and then you just go through the sign up. You go through the sign up wizard. Start free trials, probably the easiest way to go. Pop in your business domain name. It's possible that you've left it long enough that it's now been purged from Google. If that lets you sign up with your domain name and register your domain name, there's no way of creating 2 Workspace accounts. There's only ever one domain attached to one account. So if that lets you go right through and set it up again from scratch, then you might be back in business. All right, cool. No worries, Connor. You are very welcome, sir. Very welcome. All right. Let's go back to our next question. All right. Let me see latest if it shows me, or recent. Will it show me ones? Oh, that's the one that's just come in, I assume from you, Rahil. Okay. All right. So, can I do cold educational email marketing from my Workspace account? Good question. I've covered this many times, and so I'll just cover this briefly again. Google Workspace is not the best place to do large amounts of mass email. If you're sending a pricing update to a couple of hundred customers, there's a great mail merge feature, and that's right inside your Gmail. You can send that out to people that are on your contact list, and it's fully spam compliant. They can click a button and unsubscribe if they don't want to receive them in the future. And so that means that, yes, it's available. Is it good? No, it's not great. It's missing some features, like the ability to see analytics and data on how many people opened the email, how many people clicked on the email, how many people responded to the email. That stuff's just basically missing. The other thing that's missing, unfortunately, is the ability to interact with any other apps. You can't connect it to Zapier. You don't have decent history of the emails that have been sent in the past. It's just not there. So it's not my recommendation to use it. The other very important thing is, if you're sending mass emails, Google's got limits. I think it's about 5,000 emails per day per person. It may be less than that. It may be 500. once you hit those limits, Google starts limiting your account. They don't like it. It's not a commercial bulk email sending solution. It does work and you can do it, and it's good for, as I said, the scenario where you need to send a pricing update to a couple of hundred people, or maybe you've got like a football club and you're using Workspace for that, and you just a couple of hundred people need to be notified. It's good for that, but I wouldn't use the mail merge or the mass sending feature in Gmail for any kind of sophisticated marketing campaigns to customers, or if you've got a list more than 1,000 people, I wouldn't touch it. I'd just be using it for the very, very, very small things. Cool. All right. Good question, though. All right. Cool. Another question here from Connor. Do you know of a free option for enforcing email signatures and automating them across the organization so people don't have to set them up when they get an account? Preferably discounted heavily. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but yes, we do have a solution. Just message our team and ask, because they do have a solution. I just can't remember the name. So drop the team a message. I don't know if the chat team will know that, but the sales team will definitely know that. Drop a message. Easiest way to get in touch. Actually, if you email is probably best, because then you'll get a more considered response rather than live chat. hello@itgenius.com. Email and ask the question. Maybe even mention that you chatted to me on a live stream, and they'll give you the answer for that one. Cool. All right. Let's move on to our next question. Got to keep hydrated. If you are on the live, please make sure you say hello. We're on a few different platforms here, on our Facebook, on LinkedIn, lots of different places. All right. Cool. Let's move on to our next one. It says there's 9 people here. Thanks so much for joining if you're on the live. If you're on the repeat, drop a little comment in as well. Say hello. Hundreds and hundreds of people watch these, which is pretty awesome. All right. So Connor, if you need to get in touch with our team, itgenius.com. Otherwise, you can send us an email, hello@itgenius.com. All right. This is an interesting one. Are you hiring any Western contractors to assist with Google Workspace? We do have an office in Melbourne, and we have a global team. So yes, from time to time, we hire Western contractors. It depends where you are and what your skills are and what roles we have available, mostly in cybersecurity at the moment. But if you follow, it's very, very new. It's very, very new. If you follow our team page, if you go to, I think it's teamgenius.ph, that should redirect to... No, it doesn't look like it redirected yet. Okay, we've got we do have an Instagram account for Team, which has not yet been launched, it looks like. I'll have to go and find it. Maybe it's on Instagram. Let's see if I can find it here. I think it might be teamgenius.ph. There we go. Cool. If you're interested in joining our team, follow that account. Not much has been posted on there, but that's where we're going to be posting team updates. All right, cool. Next question. Should filmmakers opt for a secondary add-on domain or alias domain for each film project they manage to manage separate communication channels and meetings from their primary production company, considering costs, records management upon film project entity closure, and control panel retention of add-on domains? Good question. I guess, not knowing heaps about the industry, that would very much depend on who owns that data after the film is produced and released. Like, does the distribution company own that, or does the production company own that? Because if the production company owns that, I would probably be keeping most things in my own Google Workspace account and treating each film that I'm producing like a project. You might set up separate organizational units in your admin panel. You might set up separate shared drives. You may even set up separate security and permissions groups for certain people to get access to certain resources. But if it's fundamentally data owned by my company, for simplicity's sake and for the sake of keeping costs down, I would want to keep those domain names under one account. And then if they're just in one place, it makes moving data around really simple. Now, I'll show you how some of those things work in the admin panel, and then I'll draw it out for you on what that organizational structure may look like. What are the pros and cons of having different accounts if you've got a project-based team that you may be considering splitting out to a separate account. First up, let's jump into our admin panel. And for that, we go to admin.google.com. And some of the things that we may use in this admin panel to differentiate between one account and another account are, let me just get signed in here. There we go, finally, let me sign in. Are things like groups and even organizational units as well. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Now that I'm in my admin panel, for me to set up a security group, I would go to the groups service here. And inside the group service, I would create a group. And if there was a group of people I wanted to be working on a particular project, I would probably create a group just for that project. Okay, great. The other thing I may do is create an organizational unit for my users. So if I go to the users menu here, you'll see I've got a number of organizational units under our main company. If I click Manage Org Units, I can create a fresh organizational unit. And this is where I may choose to create a unit just for that project. And under that unit, I can set certain settings. Now, this is the time where you may choose to set particular security settings for a group of staff. And that might look like something like, I don't want any staff in the security group to be sharing documents outside my company. And to do that, we would first set up the security group inside our admin panel. And then we would go and look for a particular setting around sharing. So if I search for Drive sharing, it's going to bring up the different sharing options that I've got for Drive. And inside my sharing settings for Drive here, if I want to apply these settings just to a particular organizational unit, well, then I would scroll down, I would choose the existing organizational unit. And you can see here, initially the settings are inherited from the top level IT Genius organizational unit. And if, as an example, I want to change the setting for my concierge organizational unit to off, so that no one can share files outside the domain, I would choose the off setting and then hit save. And you'll see here it says override, which means that I'm overriding the settings of the top level of the organization. So just this subgroup of staff are going to see these settings being applied to their account. So that's the first step. We've created security groups, and then we can also create organizational units and apply different settings to different organizational units. What else may I choose to do if it's just a certain part of the business? Well, I may want to create a shared drive, and that shared drive inside of my Google Drive would be a great place to put project-related files that are specific to that particular project. And so if I open up my shared drives, if I hit New Shared Drive, when I create a shared drive here and start adding people to the shared drive, I can add that new security group that I just created, and with that security group, restrict the shared drive access to just a certain number of people. Now, let's pause and take a bit of a zoom out here, because we've really got to look at, well, who are the people in this business? Who are the people on this project? And should we have them in one account or should we have them in a second account? Let's go and take a look at the difference between these two different strategies. So imagine I have two separate Google Workspace accounts. We'll call this one Workspace 1, and we'll call this one Workspace 2. And remember that when I create mailboxes in each one of these accounts, every time I create a mailbox, I have to pay for that mailbox. And I like to refer to these as buckets of email. Each bucket of email, which is a mailbox that someone can send or receive emails from, is something that they basically have to pay for, or you, the business owner, has to pay for. Now, if you decided that in this instance, you're a production company and your company is Workspace account number 1 and your film project is Workspace account number 2, if you have one staff member, and let's say you've got staff member Peter here, and Peter needs an email address both for your production company, and Peter also needs an email address for your additional mailbox, well then Peter needs to actually have a mailbox and a bucket of email in both Workspace accounts, meaning that you're going to have to pay in both Workspace accounts. So you need 2 buckets of email for that to work. I'm going to remove and redo that because I don't think I was sharing my screen the whole time. But I think everyone's got the idea. So if you were a production company and you decided, okay, every time we run a film, we set up a second Workspace account, for the number of staff that you have shared between the 2 companies or the 2 organizations, you're going to have to double up on their mailboxes. The other thing is you're going to be sharing data back and forward between these accounts. And it does work, but it can get a little bit messy. Sometimes when you're in a chat room, the owner of that chat room has to be the one to make any changes to settings within that chat room. And so let's say you've set up a number of chat spaces in company number 1, and you've got some users in company number 2 that are participating in those chat spaces. Now, that's absolutely fine. You can participate in chat spaces that have been started by another company. But let's say the boss of the film is trying to change some settings on the production company's chat room, but they can't because they're using their secondary email address from the external Workspace account. Now, this doesn't only happen in chat, it happens across multiple different apps across the Google Workspace ecosystem when you're working with multiple accounts. And so it can be a little bit messy if you're running one business or one organization with team that have shared roles across 2 different Google accounts. Now, there's one reason why this is, I won't say a good idea, but one instance where this is useful. And the one instance where it's useful to have multiple Google accounts is where potentially at some point in the future, you need to completely separate these accounts and they are both going to go their separate ways. Obviously, this makes sense if you're a business owner and you have a side hustle, and that side hustle has a bunch of different contractors or different owners in the business that don't own your first main primary business. It makes it easy for you to separate this business and for people to go their separate ways. That's the only real reason why we would recommend using multiple accounts. Large multinationals that have Workspace for multiple brands quite often will have them all under one Google Workspace account. And even if they have a multinational conglomerate like somebody like Woolworths in Australia that also owns a liquor store called BWS and also owns multiple other subsidiary businesses, well, they could all be set in one Google Workspace account, and all you need to do is just basically like separate your way out from there to different organizational units for different groups of staff and different settings. Even large franchises that we work with that have hundreds or even thousands of locations will use one Workspace account, and then each location, even though they're a different business unit and entity in itself, will sit within an organizational unit inside the Google Workspace account. So as much as possible, it's easier to keep it all in one place. And the reason for that is you don't have to worry about sharing data, managing 2 sets of permissions, and you never have to worry about doubling up with multiple mailboxes and paying for them. If you have multiple domain names, and your domain name probably looks something like yourcompany.com in the production company and yourfilm.com, if you have Peter who's working inside this business and Peter needs to email from both of those emails, Well, Peter can email from company.com, and Peter can also, if you create an add-on domain, email from film.com. And he can receive both of those to one mailbox. He only has to pay for one bucket of email, and so you only have to incur that cost once. It's very versatile to have multiple domains inside a Google Workspace account. The only reason why you would choose to have them in separate accounts is if you've got other shareholders, other business owners, or if at some point in the future you know you'll need to sever and draw a line between those teams or between that data and have them separated. Now, of course, if you've got multiple accounts and you want to bring them into one right now, or you've got a lot of stuff in one account and you need to split it out to multiple, that's where a migration comes in. It's not a crazy process, but it is time consuming, and it does take some technical finesse to make sure it happens without any data loss, and importantly, without any downtime to your emails. If you want some help with the migration, our team can help scope it out for you. Click on the link just down below this video, and our team will be very happy to chat about what your particular situation is. We've helped small businesses right up to large publicly traded organizations both merge accounts in from separate workspace accounts and take single workspace accounts and split them out to multiple accounts as well. So whatever scenario you've got and wherever you want to get to, our team will be sure to be able to help you out if you're interested in investing in our services. Okay, great question. I love that one. That was a really good one. Thank you to Anonymous. No idea who it is who asked the question, but anyway, great question. Okay. Cool. Connor asks, is there a way to get email notifications with forms in a shared drive? I noticed it won't work, and I'm wondering if there is a workaround. I haven't heard of that not working. That sounds interesting. All right, let's go and have a look at that. So let's go into a form in a shared drive and see if we can get email notifications working. Now, here's a form that we created this morning with some feedback for our bootcamp. I'm going to go into my settings and see if I can find form notifications. I can't say I have used notifications for a while. I'm going to be very interested to know form notifications shared drive. Oh, wow, this seems to... Okay, someone's saying that it works from the Responses tab. All right, there we go. Get email notifications for a new response. Okay, you may just not have been looking in the right place, but that's where it is. It's in the Responses tab, and then get email notifications for new responses. Now, if that isn't suitable for whatever reason, you can always connect a form to Zapier.com, and you can have Zapier.com listen for any replies to the form, or if the form is linked to a spreadsheet, you can link the spreadsheet to Zapier.com, and then you can send those notifications anywhere to your heart's content. It might go to a chat notification inside your Google chat. It might go to an email address. It might go to a pop-up on your computer. Zapier can basically do anything with the data once you've got it into Zapier. So that would be my recommendation if you're looking for something more advanced there. Okay, is there a way to enforce a rule where people have to sign into a Chrome profile to access Google Workspace Business Email? I've wondered that myself for a long time, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's Google it. Force users to log into Chrome profile workspace. I'd love to switch this on if it's possible. Okay, this looks like it is applicable to Chromebooks. I'm not surprised by that. I think I have seen that one before. But I want it to be applicable to... Where is it? Force users to... So I found this in Chrome Enterprise. Chrome Browser User Level Management. Force users to sign into the browser before they can use it. Chrome browser does not let secondary users sign in. Okay. Chrome browser settings. Let's see how we go with this one. Very interesting. Force users to sign in to use the browser. Look at that. I have not tested that myself. I'm curious to test it. Have I got my test account handy? Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. Oh, I don't think that's my test account. Hold up. All right, let's open my test account here. Okay. So we're going to go into our admin panel. Just going to have to sign into this account, and I don't know what the password is. Okay, let me go grab my LastPass. Give me a second here. All right. Of course, it's going to ask me for two-factor, isn't it? I usually just test with my live account, so it's been so long since I've actually used this account. Honestly, I prefer testing with live data. It's certainly a security risk. Let me hide this screen. Certainly a security risk, but I prefer to show the real stuff rather than just a test environment. So please, nobody hack me. Otherwise, I'm going to have to stop. Otherwise, I'm going to have to stop doing this way. Damn, I think my computer is so hot. It's not recognizing my fingerprint for my passkey. Come on, mate. That's all right. Okay, we'll skip the passkey setup. Okie dokie. So let's go find this setting. So Chrome login. Let's go back to this is the setting we want. All right. So what we're doing here is we're setting a policy to force users to sign in to a browser. Oh, and I probably shouldn't do that at the company level. Let's create a new organizational unit, and we'll put it in there. Okay, so this is interesting. I don't seem to be able to create an org unit. There we go. Okay, we've got a Pete test unit. All right, so browser sign-in settings. I'm going to force users to sign into the browser. And this is going to apply, for now, to users in the Pete test organizational unit, which means that we need to go and find the user for Pete, and we need to move him into the Pete test organizational unit. So let's go and find Pete, if we can. Too many people in here. All right, so we've got Pete, and we're going to move him into a different organizational unit, move him into Pete test. I assume he wasn't there already, but anyway. Okay, cool. Yeah, so it looks like everyone else is probably just sitting up in the main. Here we go, from selected. Yeah, most people are just sitting in the main organizational unit up the top now. I'm still there because it takes a second to refresh. Give it another go, but Pete should disappear. Yep, see, Pete's disappeared, but if we go and click onto Pete test, There we go. Pete Test is sitting there. Okay, cool. So I'm going to create a new Chrome profile. Let's do a new Chrome profile. So I'm going to say sign in. Peter at, well, actually, I wonder if I can skip signing in here. Yeah, let's continue without an account. Okay, cool. So testing force, log in. All right, cool. So this is my fresh profile. And let's just imagine for now, mail.google.com. This Pete is just going to go ahead and sign into YouTube like an oblivious user, an oblivious end user who doesn't even care to sign into Chrome. They just want to sign into their Gmail. They just don't care. Okay, test.reseller.itgenius.com.au. All right, cool. Now I got to get his password. All right, we're going to punch in the password. Now, let's see what happens. Oh, of course. Okay, two-factor authentication. All right. Okay, so it says, do I want to switch to my existing Chrome profile? No. No, I don't. But it did force me, it did sign me in. That's interesting. But sync is off. That's interesting. Okay, so it definitely signed me into Chrome. It did. I didn't consent to that, by the way, Google. But maybe we can find some other settings to force this, huh? We need to go to our admin console. Because I was really hoping that this would pop up and say, hey, you need to sign in. Separate profile for managed Google identity. Well, I would say, if forced, users will be required to create a new profile in Chrome while using their managed Google identity. If not forced, they'll not be forced. Okay, yeah, let's force this. Force a separate profile and forbid secondary managed accounts. Okay, let's apply the most stringent of these options and see what happens. The managed account is the primary account. The profile has no secondary accounts. When the profile is created, importing existing browsing data is allowed. Okay. Let's try this. See what happens. Now, it does say it's supported on Windows and Mac, which is pretty good. I'm on a Mac at the moment. But I am still curious what other settings we've got while we're waiting for those to be deployed. Okay, so sign-in settings. I'm going to remove that. All right, well, let's go back to our extra managed account here. Sync is off. I wonder if we can force sync on. That'd be nice. Chrome sync. So that's for Chrome OS only. Chrome sync and roaming profiles. Allow Chrome sync. It'd be nice if we could force this. It does not appear that we can force this. Allow roaming profiles. I don't actually know what a roaming profile is, or disallow sync. Yeah, boring. Okay. Cool. Well, I think we've had enough of a parlay down that. It appears that we can have a Google account forced to sign into a Chrome profile. We can also set a Google account to force a new profile to be created and to disallow any other login of other accounts with that Chrome profile. What we can't do yet is to force synchronization of data to the Google account. I guess that's fair enough. I presume that's from a user security perspective. But what I do like is if you've got people that are using Chrome and you want to make sure that they're signed into the browser so they can get access to features like a set of company-wide bookmarks that you've chosen to push down to all profiles via a policy. Or maybe you've chosen to disable or enable certain add-ons under people's Chrome profiles, and you don't want people to use those add-ons with a corporate account under Chrome anywhere across your organization. Well, with this feature, if you force someone to sign into their Chrome browser when they sign into their Google account, it means that they're going to have to adhere to those policies inside of Chrome because they're applied automatically. And that means that you can make sure that all of your users are actually using the settings that you want and they're protected in the ways that you want to protect them as well. Love this feature. Great. All right. Connor asks, can I review this later? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this stays on our channel. So go for it. It won't go anywhere. All right. Is there a way to enforce? Yep, I've already done that one. Can you manage bookmarks? Absolutely. Can you have a complementary password manager? Absolutely. Yes. So if you're setting up policies inside of Google Chrome, once someone is signed into a Chrome device, you can have bookmarks appear automatically. You can have an add-on appear automatically. If you want to, for example, push down a Chrome password manager as a Chrome add-on, you can then go and disable the Chrome password management that's internal inside of Chrome. So if you want to switch off the password management features of Chrome so that people are encouraged to use the third-party password manager of your choice, then you can do that as soon as someone's signed into their Chrome profile once you've applied the policy. Easy done. Yes, great question. I'm glad you asked that question because I never knew that that one had been released. All right. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Let me go and clean up after myself and delete the extra profile that I created. How do I do that? Manage Chrome profiles. All right, delete, delete, delete. Done. Rock and roll. Okie dokie. Let's move on to our next question. I'm going to grab a quick drink break. We've been slowly moving through these, but we are doing well. Let me close a couple of tabs here just to get myself all tidied up. We would like to upload to our client's shared folder. Will this take up our own storage even if we're added as the managers, if we're the ones uploading the files? We want to ensure that files uploaded will stay within the shared folder without affecting our individual stored limits. This is a great question. In the past, when files were uploaded to a shared folder that was created within my drive or somebody's personal Google Drive, whether that be a business account or a consumer account, the storage quota that was attributed to the files being uploaded would be stuck to the person who uploaded the files. And effectively, what that meant was when you created a shared folder, even if you were the owner of the folder, you were not the owner of the files. And therefore, the file storage didn't count towards your account. So I think that was a good system because it meant that the person uploading the files got stuck with the cost of the files actually being uploaded. However, Google have now changed the game when it comes to shared folders. Now, previously these were called team drives, now they're called shared drives, and these are a space where you can create a company-owned folder and you can set certain permissions on that folder as well. One of the permissions that I love is called contributor, and it allows you to set a folder that allows people to put files into the folder and edit files, but not delete any files. This is great if you're working with a contractor who's maybe outside the business and you want them to have access to the files, access to the folder, the ability to contribute files, but not the ability to accidentally or on purpose delete anything. Now, the key thing when it comes to the storage quota of shared drives is that it actually counts towards the company. The shared drive is owned by the company and it's not owned by any individual users, even though you may have someone with the manager permission who is the person who is effectively responsible for that drive. Now, even though that drive has just one manager potentially, the administrator of the Google Workspace account that the shared drive lives under is the one who has the ultimate access to that drive. If you want, you can add and remove access to a drive just by the admin panel. And if you have a drive where you've accidentally removed the last manager from, you can always get it back that way from the admin panel as well. But importantly, the storage counts towards the company's storage and the account storage of the account that it is owned by, not the individual users. Now, inside a Google Workspace account, previously there were certain plans that had, I'll try that again. Inside a Google Workspace account, there were previously plans that had an unlimited amount of data storage. However, Google have scrapped those plans, instead switching to a user-based storage quota for most of their business plans and at least some of their enterprise plans. Now, what that means is that each user has to pay and be mindful of which storage they have inside their account. You no longer have the option to add a storage block of additional storage to an individual user, although that was pretty useful in the past. Nowadays, the easiest way to get more storage is just to either add new users to your account, so you get an additional allocation of storage on a per user basis, or you may choose instead to just upgrade the account type. And so if you're on a business standard plan, maybe you go to Business Plus, and on that plan, you'll get additional features, but you also get access to more storage per user. Now, that said, if you want to go and find how much storage each person is using, that's pretty straightforward, and I'll show you how to do that in the admin panel. So once we log into our admin panel, if we're looking for the storage of our users, we want to go down into the reporting area, and you'll see here, if I head along to Overview, it's going to show me a number of reports here for the account and the total storage being used across the account. The easiest way to go and see how much storage is being used is to click the View Details option. And you'll see here it's going to show on an app basis. Oh, God, it's not showing on a user. Where's the user basis? Why is that not showing me there? That should show me on a user basis. Let me untick that. Huh, that is very strange. Okay, cool. So let's go. Where's my... I'm going to have to search for it. Storage. They put it in its own menu. Okay, so we're going to go to the storage menu in our admin panel, and there we can see the different users and how much storage each one of those users are using. You can also see which shared drives are using the most storage as well. And if you need to add or manage storage policies, you'll find them in the Google Drive settings for users. So we've got our storage all set up here. If we want to create a shared drive, that's also pretty straightforward. You go to your drive, you go to shared drives, and you create a new shared drive. And that's where you can set the settings that you need after you've created a shared drive. I can add users, or I can add groups, if I can spell correctly. And then I can choose what level of access I'd like each person to have access to. We have lots of other videos on our channel on getting your permissions right for Google Drive. I recommend you check them out, and it will take you right through our Google Drive blueprint for getting scalable permissions set up and organizational security groups set up so that your business can be protected as you're sharing files right across your team. If you are interested in those, head along to the channel. Just search for the word, I don't know what, drive maybe? Or sharing probably. Yeah, there we go. Cool. All right, great. Let me check how we are doing for time. I've got time for one more question. Oh, we always get a million of these questions every week, every time. Will Google Workspace admin see my download log from any activity log? Yes. Not necessarily your Chrome download log, but they will see your like what you've downloaded in terms of Google files. That's all right there in the audit log. Anything you do inside your Workspace account is logged to the audit log, so it's in the admin panel. Okay. All right. My account is full, but I can't sign into my account to try and delete stuff to free up space. I'm assuming you can't buy storage because Google no longer let you buy. Google won't let you buy storage on the old storage plans. They also won't let you buy storage with like Google One. So you might be trying to buy it in the wrong place. Also, if you're working with a partner, the partner has to apply the storage to your account. You probably can't purchase it yourself directly. So that's another, if you bought Workspace through Wix or Squarespace or someone else, you're probably stuck there too. But the bottom line is, because of the way that Google have changed their storage plans, it is in 9 times out of 10 more cost effective for small businesses to just upgrade to the next account rather than trying to buy individual storage. I think the minimum storage is 200 or 250 US dollars per month, and you get a 10 terabyte storage block, which is great. It's heaps of storage, but for 250 USD per month, it's usually easier to just add a couple more users on your account because you get a terabyte or 2 per user, or just go up to the next Google plan for all of your users, and then you get more storage per user. I think the Plus plan has 5 terabytes per user. You get heaps, and that's in most cases that we've come across cheaper than opting to buy the storage plans through Google. All right. I'm going to call it there. Thanks, guys. This has been great to hang out. Thanks for all those who joined on the live. We got through lots, and we will be back for more soon. I look forward to catching you guys next time. Thanks for joining the live. If you're interested in a free audit of your Workspace account, if you want to check what's going on, see if you can get more out of the platform. If you want to join a boot camp or something like that, if you want to do a project like a merge or a migration, if you need to fix something, if your DNS settings aren't perfect, or you've run a test, or your emails are going to spam or something like that, click on the link down below. You can do a free consultation with our team. They are Google Workspace experts. We're global experts in small and medium-sized businesses for everything to do with Workspace. If you are even a sole operator, one-man or woman band, it's totally fine. We have a package and pricing set for you. Or if you're a large organization with 10, 20, 30, 50, hundreds, or even thousands of employees, then we have teams who service mid-market and corporate clients as well. We are experts in everything to do with Google Workspace and the Google ecosystem. If you want help with Workspace, you know what to do. Click the link below, book in a consultation, and we will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you